Well, good morning, everyone. Story time here today at the cabin. I realize it has been a minute since I've given you the update about forest fires. I know I freaked you all out probably with some of the posts I did on social media about a fire that came very close to the cabin. So I wanted to give you guys an update. As you can see, it's still really smoky in the air around here. I'm really struggling with my breathing this morning, and you can hear me kind of clearing my throat and stuff like that, so apologize for that. But the air is pretty thick with smoke, not due right now to a fire near to the cabin, but fires sort of in northern Ontario as well as Quebec. So it's been a really bad fire season everywhere in Canada. And we've been particularly affected by massive amounts of fires in the Quebec province. And the wind has been just going the right direction for most of the late spring and early summer, that it's just been blanketing our province, as well as even as far down as the States. Some of you guys have smelt smoke in the air, and I'm sure you've seen some of the videos out of New York and stuff like that about just that orange air, and that's actually from the Quebec wildfires. So several are obviously lightning strikes started, but unfortunately some fires, especially around here around the cabin, were actually started by humans. So a little while back, so remember I did that video called it was Water and Fire, where I was just testing out my new boat. I was starting to get an uneasy feeling about the forest fire season in Ontario here. Quebec's was way off to start, also out west and out east. I just started having a really bad feeling that things were going to hit the fan, as it were, around here. And so that's why I did that video, and I was like, trying out my boat, but also kind of, heeding a warning, like, please be careful if you're out enjoying the waterways and going to have a shore lunch. Like, do not, it's too dry. You cannot be having a fire. And at that point in time, I did the video. I don't think they had put on a province-wide ban on burning. I don't know why. I've been very dry here for quite some time. And, I was just watching what's happening elsewhere, and I'm like, ugh, this is going to be a huge issue. I think we need to do common sense. Like, don't start fires. And I was telling you guys about that story about the person that was wanting to buy firewood during a fire ban, and I kind of intervened to mention, there's a fire ban going on. And even though I wasn't really sure there was one at the time, it was just common sense, going in the woods and seeing what it was like, and knowing what kind of precipitation we'd had recently, not to have a fire. So it was really spooky. So after I put up that video, you guys watched the video that weekend. I was up at the cabin, and again, it was kind of smoky and stuff like that. And I knew about the Quebec wildfires, so I was like, oh yeah, whatever, it's just the Quebec wildfires. And started to smell a bit more smoke in the afternoon and things like that while we were here. And I don't know, I started getting really uneasy. So we have a big field out by the cabin, which I'm reforesting right now. But that grass, my gosh, if that catches with lightning or anything, like a stray ember, it's just gonna go. And grass fires aren't uncommon, and it is part of the life cycle of a lot of grasslands and stuff like that. But with the cabin being so close, I started getting easy, so I got a little lawnmower there, and so I started mowing back and forth in front of the cabin, and just kind of actually mowing a lot of the grass back. In my mind, I thought, I was doing something, if there was a problem, at least like the smoke or the fire would like kind of creep up low to the ground, and you can like beat it out or whatever if there was ever a fire. But I don't know, whatever. So I did that, felt good about myself. Then later on the day, like way off in the distance, you could hear kind of like sirens up on the hills and stuff like that. I thought, oh, okay, well, that's not good. You don't really hear that much out here. And then, thought, oh, maybe there's been a fatality on the highway or something like that in the distance. Then a half hour later, I hear more sirens again. I think, oh, this is really bad. Like, I think this is probably a fire. I mean, that's just the next township coming over to help out or something. Anyway, so left for the day. It was really smoky and smoggy. And, and then heard basically on the way en route home that a forest fire had broken out nearby. Boy, that really freaked me right out, because I had this omen. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I get really bad feelings. And I hate it when they come true, because you don't really know what to do about them in the moment. And here I was just like randomly like mowing the grass and stuff like that, thinking that, if there was a fire, then, it wouldn't, blaze up to the cabin in a hurry. Yeah, I mean, the wind was going the wrong way for the fire to really, get at the cabin. But if it switched, there'd be possibly a bit of a problem there. I wasn't overly worried, but it just came way too close to home. But of course, multiple townships involved, and I think it took like a week and a bit for that fire to get put out. It got big really fast. It's dry as a bone up here. You know, there's like tinder everywhere. Like trees are down. Like I've shown you guys in these videos, like how much dry wood we have laying on the ground. A lot of it's conifers, and there's a lot of resin in there, and that's just gonna burn and burn and burn hot. So, you know, it didn't take too long for a little wee fire to like turn into a disaster. And thankfully nobody died. Thankfully, I don't think any structures were damaged. It was just forest, but just forest is significant, you know. And you know, it's quite a lot of damage done, and a lot of resources were used for that. Like, my gosh, people coming from all over to help fight it, you know, to protect, you know, some valuable, you know, cottages, homes, things like that. So, you know, that took a tremendous amount of resources, like hours and hours, to put that out. Thankfully, there's a lot of water around this area, so water bombers were involved pretty quickly, and helicopters and stuff like that. Not everywhere's so lucky. I mean, some forest fires in Ontario and Quebec, they're just going to have to burn out. There's no way, there's no resources to be able to tackle that. You know, tens of thousands of hectares of land burning. A lot of it's just allowed to burn because there's just nothing you can do. It's just out of control. It's only if it's near communities or things like that that, you know, they make a perimeter and they kind of beat it back to try to keep it away from, you know, valuable resources and things like that. So, you know, it's just so unfortunate, and it just sort of came out that this fire was started by a person. So probably someone on the shore having a little lunch, having their little fire, doing whatever, having a little party, and did not put it out, or it got out of control and then just ignited all the acreage behind it. And the way that it was super windy, the winds were high. That was a weekend, as you guys know, that I think that was the weekend that my drone actually went down as well. Had a little glitch out there. So, you know, winds were high. The rain was not happening. The rain did not happen for a long time. I think partway into the week of them fighting the fire, a little bit of rain came, but there was a concern because there was lightning and stuff like that. But you know, it's just common sense. I mean, really, that was a lot of resources. A lot of forest is damaged now. And I'm scared there's going to be others. I mean, I heard like recently there's another bonfire that they had to attend to. Like, come on, we're in a total fire ban. Like, what are you thinking? Like, don't do that. I mean, this is, it's just not a great time to be doing that. And I know it upsets everybody and nobody likes being told what to do. But, you know, common sense, it's just kind of, it's going to be a very hot, dry summer. Like, I think we're in the middle of El Nino or something like that. Or, you know, things are just going to be warmer and hotter and drier. And I think a lot of these fires are going to burn throughout the summer. So, you know, you just have to be careful and have to, you know, whatever. I guess we'll just have to bring our little, you know, enclosed little stoves if we go camping, and even then being extremely careful. Campfires just may not be a thing this summer, and a lot of times they aren't a thing around here in the summer. Most summers we're on fire ban here, and there's no way to do that. Sometimes you can have like level 1 where you can have like a little campfire, cook hot dogs or whatever, but right now we're in total fire ban, so you know, you can't do that. So you gotta think of other things to do, get creative, but nothing to, you know, harm the environment or catch anything on fire. So anyway, so the cabin, she stands, everything is good. I was really nervous there for a while, but today, you know, the air is thick with the, you know, fires of in Quebec there in Northern Ontario. So you know, I think everyone just has to be really careful, and also be careful with your breathing and stuff too. I probably shouldn't be out here all that much today. You know, it's hard on the lungs, and you know, hard in the eyes too. If you have any kind of like lung condition, like asthma or whatever, or heart problems, like you shouldn't be out in this. It's terrible. Just to take a deep breath right now, it just smells like campfire. And of course, as you saw earlier in the clips there, how like smoggy, and I mean, there's a bit of haze in there too, and a little bit of mist, but a lot of that is just some of the smoke mixed in there. So it's very difficult to see the topography. It's really interesting though. I'm glad I got my I've got my drone up and running again, as you guys saw in the previous video, so I can get some of these interesting shots just for my own, you know, this is like a journal of my life, so it's really cool to kind of, you know, document this, and, you know, hopefully this isn't not gonna be like this summer after summer. I hope not. But yeah, so anyways, be careful, you know, common sense out there. You know, forest fires can take off really fast, and you know, it's very, very difficult to put out some of these fires. You know, you think, oh, oops, I got out of control. I'll run around and get some water, put it out. But sometimes it's already like going like crazy behind you, and you're at risk too. So please be safe out there. Enjoy your summer. But definitely use some common sense when it comes to having fires, especially on a total fire ban. Please do not disobey the fire ban. It's out there for a reason. And it is my feeling that that fire ban should have been on much earlier than it was, to try to help with some of the situations that we're dealing with now. All right, so if you have any questions or stories, don't hesitate to leave them down below in the comments. I love hearing about your experiences all over the world with these kind of things. It's just interesting to connect in that way. So leave me some stories down below in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video. Stay safe.